guys, what's up? This is Lee Benz, and this is episode 4 of the AEW Insider. All elite, all the time. Of course, we got some AEW news, but they haven't taken off yet. The pay-per-view's not for a couple months, but any news and gossip and updates, I will bring you. We got a lot of WWE and a little Impact Wrestling. This is the January 30th, 2019 edition, so let's get to it. The Young Bucks put out a new episode of Being the Elite. As always, it was very funny. It had a bunch of good spots, but best was a bonus scene after the episode ended. They showed Matt Jackson on the Young Bucks on the phone. He said, "I can't believe they thought you were actually going to be there. I'm glad you found your phone, and I will see you soon." He then hung up. They did a cutscene to another person putting his phone down, and then that person flipped the phone over. It had a countdown counter on it, a timer. Just like their cell phones did when they announced AEW or their pay-per-view Double or Nothing on January 1st. The cell phone read 9 days, 19 hours, and some minutes and seconds. Now, Kenny Omega's contract is actually up tomorrow at midnight with New Japan, so it couldn't be for him, right? But if you remember that February 7th, next Thursday, AEW is hosting their pool party in Vegas at the MGM Grand. And that's when they're going to be doing a pre-sale on tickets. That's exactly where the counter counted down to. So you know that is the day that Kenny Omega will finally announce that he signed with AEW. You guys can mark my words on that. I'm never wrong, and my boy, it's awesome. I'm glad that he decided to stay with the band. He didn't break them up. They all said that they were going to stick together. WWE offered them huge contracts. I mean, multi-millions, millions of dollars. They all turned it down because they want a lighter schedule, they want to stick together, and they want creative control over their character. You go to WWE, they'll tell you whatever you want to hear to get you to sign, and then 90% of the talent they bury. So AEW is going to be strong. They got the two biggest free agents now, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. Even though it isn't confirmed, it is going to happen. So I can't wait for February the 7th. LGN, those old little rubber toys they used to have, they're making a comeback with the bendy wrestler figures. We used to play with them as kids. You got to remember them. The first sets were finally announced by Matt Jackson again on Twitter as the Young Bucks. He has been teasing them for months, but he actually released a pic of them, and they are awesome. It brings back a lot of memories of the younger years for myself. I don't want to get into all of them, you know what I mean? But you guys remember the LGN bendy toys, so I'm going to pre-order it. You got to go out and get them. It's the Young Bucks, and they're going to be awesome. Matt and Nick Jackson also did an interview with NuclearConvoy.com and spoke about the Japanese trio they are bringing to AEW and how we never seen anything like it. If he has it his way, they're going to bring more people in every 6 months, let them train in America, get some fighting under their belt, then send them back and just keep swapping them out. And I hope they achieve that because we're going to see a lot of talent we would have never seen before. Those guys will get experience. We'll bring them in, bring them out, send them home with some, American wrestling under their belt, and we get to enjoy them while they're here. Jericho posted on Twitter a pic of him in his New Japan outfit with his makeup on and with the caption that said he will be back. The Alpha Club will return. Indeed, he does have a clause with AEW that he can work for New Japan. For how long and how many times, what have you, who knows? But he will be back in New Japan, so that is awesome because he's vicious over there. His character kind of looks like the Clockwork Orange in a rock star with the mime makeup on. He curses, he just disrespects people. He's awesome, so I can't wait for him to go back to New Japan and put on some more great matches. SCU did a great interview a few days ago, and Scorpio Sky talked about what a huge Bret Hart mark he was growing up. You got to check it out. SCU is awesome. It's got Scorpio Sky. He was the newest member. That guy is amazing. It's got Christopher Daniels, the Fallen Angel, and Frankie Kazarian. If you followed wrestling for a while, you know who those two are, and those three together are just doing some really, really good and funny stuff. It is official that AEW signed the tag team, which I talked about in last episode, the team of Chucky T and Trent Beretta. They go by the name of Best Friends, which is crazy because they told New Japan to their face that they had a verbal agreement that they would re-sign their contracts. New Japan should have had them sign on the dotted line because they went back on their word and they went with AEW. Dave Meltzer released that information. It's a great choice, though, because those two are funny AF. You got to check out their YouTube videos. It's called Best Friends. They sit there, they get drunk, they smoke. They're awesome, and they have great cameos by wrestlers like Ricochet, Sami Callihan, and more, what have you. So definitely check out Trent Beretta and Chucky T on Best Friends on YouTube, and wait for them to be in AEW. They're going to kick some serious anus. The limited edition Elite shirts started hitting stores and Hot Topics on Monday. I went to the store, we didn't have any, so I tore them up on Twitter, but come to find out, they're doing like a weekly release. It started on the West Coast. A lot of people over there did report that they got them, and they're going to move their way to the East Coast towards this weekend. So I'll be there again to take some pictures with some and to grab myself some, because nobody's better than the Elite. On to some WWE news. Ex-WWE champ Jack Swagger, who is going by Hager now, won his first MMA professional fight. He tapped his opponent out, and he tapped him out quick, and he tapped him out hard. At the end, he looked at the camera, he put his hand over his heart, and he screamed, "We, the people," like he used to do in WWE. Congratulations, Jack Hager. That's awesome. And AEW wants to sign him too, so he's going to be doing MMA and AEW, which is awesome. Today is Becky Lynch's, a.k.a. The Man's, birthday. Speaking of Becky, she's had a very busy week since winning the Female Royal Rumble just a few days ago. WWE and Vince McMahon took to Twitter and social media and wished her a happy birthday also. So did I, because the man is the man. Let me see. On Raw, after Ronda Rousey defeated Bayley, which is a very good match, Bayley's been stepping up. She kicked butt in the Royal Rumble, and there was a spot with Charlotte, too, that Charlotte messed up on, or Ronda did, I forget, and she carried her, which is really good. And Becky got in the ring and said, "Thank you," or "Good job," because Bayley's been doing awesome. But after Rousey defeated Bayley on Raw, the man, Becky Lynch, came to the ring to confront her. She was limping with a bad knee from the Royal Rumble. If you watch the Royal Rumble, though, in their match, for example, say she hurt her right knee. Later on, when she came out, she was holding her left knee, because it's all the act, of course, until the referee turned her on. She was holding her wrong knee, and then she went back to holding the right knee. So definitely go back and rewatch that. And she came out and she, as I was saying, Becky Lynch came out and she told Ronda that she was going to confront her for the WWE Raw's Women's title at WrestleMania, which is awesome because my daughter and I are going to be there for the whole week. We're going to have tons of coverage from all events going on from all different promotions. So definitely stay tuned for those awesome videos. Let me see. As of right now, they are supposed to be the main event, which is amazing. 2 women hosting WrestleMania doing the main event, and that's because of Rousey's name. I mean, I couldn't stand her at first when she came, but she has stepped her game up. So that will be awesome if they keep it. It is subject to change, though, of course. If a bigger star does come back, they'll give them that. Rousey was very mad that Becky had the gall to come out there and confront her. She gave her a little spiel, tore her up, and she just walked away. Seth also came out at the beginning of the show, and he was saying how his childhood dream was to be a WWE wrestler, to make it to a main event in WrestleMania, which it was. I seen him. His name is Kobe Lopez in real life. And if you watch his old video as a little kid, he wanted to be WWE champion. He teared up and I was happy for him. Triple H even came out and gave him props. Ambrose came out to interrupt and they had an impromptu match. We'll get to some big Dean Ambrose news in a little bit. Seth was backstage towards the end of the show deciding if he would fight Brock Lesnar for his belt or Daniel Bryan for his belt at WrestleMania. Braun Strowman came out, who Seth beat at the Royal Rumble, to get that chance and told him he better make the right choice. We were waiting for Seth to come out and make his announcement, but instead Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman came out. Paul Heyman spoke for Lesnar as always. Seth came out and interrupted, and Brock just destroyed him. Hit him with 3 F5s, and the last one was on top of the Universal title. They left Seth broken in the ring, so Seth will be fighting the Beast at WrestleMania, and he will be the one to take that belt, and then we'll finally get a fighting champion on Raw, who's there every week instead of every 3 months or something big like Brock's been doing, which has been horrible. Now, about Dean Ambrose. He has to leave the WWE. Well, not leave, but his contract is up in April, right at WrestleMania, so we'll be there for his last match pretty much, and they wanted to re-sign him to a 5-year deal with 7 figures for each year. He turned them straight up down. You know, they were sick about that because Ambrose is a huge star. Usually WWE keeps that kind of thing quiet, but they didn't. They've announced it all over social media. They wish him the best of luck, and they said they hope to see him again in the future. So I wish you the best, Dean. That when the Shield started, you were my favorite, man, and they haven't used you right. You got to go where they treat you right. And come to find out, the reason it took him so long to get back from injury is because he didn't want to come back, which is insane. Let me see. Also, Hideo Itami, the Chinese wrestler, Japanese, excuse me, who was an NXT star, he was like their first big signing years ago. He got injured, blah, blah, blah. They did nothing with him. He asked for his release also after his last match last night or 2 nights ago, and WWE just gave it to him because they don't see any value on him. He's been injured. They didn't even fight him. So now he's got a 90-day clause where he can't wrestle for anybody. And then after that, he's probably going to go back to New Japan. So we're losing Dean in April. We lost Hideo last night, and my boy Dolph Ziggler's contract is up tomorrow, I'm pretty sure, my favorite wrestler right now. So after Dolph leaves, then my boy Sami Callihan will be my favorite because he's my second. Now a little SmackDown news. The man opened the show, Becky Lynch. I told you she's been a busy bee. She cut a promo about her main eventing Mania with Rousey and said she's going to break her arm in front of the world. I really hope she does. Charlotte Flair came out, of course, to interrupt. Charlotte's always trying to get involved, and WWE always tries putting her in. She is the worst. She's only as big as she is because she's Flair's daughter. I hope they do not make it a triple threat and let Becky and Rousey fight like they should. Charlotte needs to just go do something else. I mean, honestly. She was sitting there talking smack to Becky. Becky just slugged her and left her in the ring. Flair recovered, caught her on the ramp, and attacked her. The refs broke it up. After that, R-Truth had a match against Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura just beat Rusev again for the title. They got it in and all that. Shinsuke went to hit him with some crazy kick move up in the air. R-Truth actually reversed it, put him in a small package, and he won the U.S. title. You couldn't tell if it was supposed to happen or not. It really looked like it wasn't supposed to happen, but we don't know. And then Rusev came out. Rusev all of a sudden, instead of Rusev Day, is a bad guy now. He challenged R-Truth for the belt. And I thought they were going to chomp R-Truth like they did with Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder won the belt at WrestleMania. The next day, they made him lose it. So after he beat Shinsuke for it, I don't know if they did it on the fly and got Rusev out there, but I thought they were going to have Rusev beat him and take the belt right away, but they didn't. So R-Truth is your new U.S. championship, which is awesome. That guy's in his late 40s. He's in tremendous shape, and him and Vince McMahon are like that, which people don't know. So it's about time. I think that might be his first title in the division, besides like a tag team with Miz years ago. Talking about the Miz and Shane came out, and Shane surprised the Miz by having his dad there. Miz thought his dad was on a flight back home, which he should have been, but he actually kept him around. So they had a nice celebration in the ring, and the Usos came out to interrupt. So Shane made a match for later between like 4 or 5 tag teams. Whoever won that was going to fight them for the belt, and surprise, surprise, of course, the Usos won. So they get the first shot at the belt, Shane McMahon and the Miz's tag team titles. They cut to Mandy Rose and my baby Sonya Deville backstage. Mandy revealed why she hates Naomi, and she did what she did to her and the Uso. And they cut to the scenes. It was way back in Tough Enough when Mandy was trying to be a wrestler. Naomi was really busting her balls in the ring and put her through it. Like, she had people jump on her, hurt her, Tamina, what have you, and Mandy actually cried. And Tony said Mandy never cries. So supposedly what she did with her in Tough Enough is why she has a grudge against her, and now Mandy Rose wants her revenge. The SmackDown chant came out, Daniel Bryan, and he did bring Eric, well, he announced Eric Rowan later. Eric Rowan came out right after, and he says they are alike. Rowan's very educated. He reads book in his part-times and all that. He studies up on things, what have you. And it's funny because Eric Rowan is like 7 foot tall. He's like a Viking. He's got a big beard and all that. He does not look educated at all. But that's the role he's playing. They said he loves the environment, what have you. Daniel Bryan then called himself a hypocrite because he carries around the WWE title that's made out of leather, which is cow. He named the cow Daisy that they made the belt out of. So the crowd started chanting Daisy. He then had a garbage can in a ring, and he threw the belt in the trash. The crowd chanted, "Buy a Daisy, buy a Daisy." Rowan then went and took a new title out and handed it to Daniel Bryan. The title was made out of 100% hemp and a naturally fallen oak tree. It's all carved out of wood with jewels. It's beautiful. And of course, the tree had to be naturally fallen because Daniel Bryan wouldn't wear anything when they actually cut the tree down because he's about the environment. Then AJ Styles came out saying he was not going to stand by and watch and disrespect the title. He was interrupted by Randy Orton, who was interrupted by Jeff Hardy, who was interrupted by Mustafa Ali, who was interrupted by Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was on a verbal tearing spree like he always is. Immediately broke out in the ring. Everybody started fighting while Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan snuck on the outside. Daniel Bryan was standing on the announcer's table talking smack to all of them while they were fighting. Then Triple H came on in Titantron and announced that everybody who was fighting in the ring were going to be in the Elimination Chamber. All of those wrestlers against Daniel Bryan for his new WWE Naturally Made title. Bryan was screaming, no, 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 and the fight continued with everybody, and SmackDown went off the air. Now, real quick about some Impact Wrestling. People don't watch Impact, but they got a lot of good stars, and they've gotten really good. They've been catching a lot of steam. Very good stories. And especially with my second favorite current wrestler, like I said, is going to be my first after Dolph leaves, the Draw, Sami Callihan. Him and ex-cruiserweight from WWE, Richard Swann, have been in a great storyline. Come to find out they're from the same area and they've known each other for years. Sami helped him along the way. Sami said outside of Impact they're like brothers, they're very tight. He told Swann if it was not for him, he'd be laying on the side of the road in Baltimore somewhere. If it wasn't for him, he wouldn't be the X Division champ and he wouldn't be able to have the money to help out his Aunt Dora or his sick cousin Israel. Richard Swann was bugging and we're pushing each other, what have you. Sami said they ain't your family. We're your family. Where were they when you were sitting there homeless? So it got pretty heated. Sami took out for the second time now an OVE shirt. That's Sami's clique from Ohio. It's called Ohio versus Everybody because they don't care. They take everybody on. He went to hand it to Rich Swann. Rich Swann said the shirt was definitely the right size, but their group isn't the right fit. And he pretty much left the ring. It didn't end well. My dog Callahan has been trolling peeps on Twitter too. MJF, Maxwell, Friedman from AEW. People said they wanted to see him fight Sami. He said he already did, and Sami made sure to let him know they did, and Sami beat his ass. And then also the current Impact champion, Johnny Impact, is fighting like Brian Cage again for the belt, fighting Killer Kross. And Sami Zayn said like he should be fighting him. It's not like he isn't the Wrestler of the Year or whatnot. And Sami Zayn was awarded Wrestler of the Year last year. So, I mean, please, man, if anybody needs a shot at the belt, it's definitely him. Let me see. All right, and I'll get to the Royal Rumble real quick. I was doing these videos. I ran out of room. It messed up the other day, so it didn't. I had a big... All right, well, I'll make this quick. If you guys didn't see the Royal Rumble, you've been living under the rock. You haven't heard the results. So I'm running out of room. Let me finish this real quick. Asuka versus Becky Lynch. I picked Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch lost. Shane McMahon and The Miz versus The Bar. Sheamus and Cesaro. I already ruined that Shane and The Miz one because I talked about SmackDown. I picked them. They're your new WWE Tag Team Champions. Sasha Banks versus Ronda Rousey. I picked The Boss. That match was sick. They gave it to each other. Submissions, everything. Stomping on feet, everything. It was amazing. The Boss really should have won it, but of course they're going to keep it around Rousey's waist so she can headline WrestleMania because she's a huge name. Daniel Bryan fought AJ Styles. I picked Daniel Bryan. He retained his title. AJ Styles blows anymore. And then they had Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar. Balor's first chance to get his Universal title back. He won it when me and my daughter were there at SummerSlam. Seth injured him that match, and they've been sleeping on him since. Brock destroyed him, but Finn definitely messed up his midsection, so that kept helping him. Even when Brock was in charge doing moves, his midsection kept coming back to help him. But of course, Brock won at the end because they want him to be at WrestleMania because he's a huge name from UFC, what have you. The Women's Royal Rumble was cool. At the end of it, Lana came out to fight, and who knows why? Well, we know why, because Nia Jax came and beat her up. She was injured. Becky Lynch came out, even though she lost against Asuka, demanded to be put in Lana's place. She got to go in, and of course the man, Becky Lynch, won the Women's Royal Rumble. So that's why she got to pick who she wanted to fight, which I already talked about, which is Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. Then the Guys Royal Rumble, that's already ruined too. Seth Rollins won it, which is awesome. The boyhood dream, like Shawn Michaels, came true. I just wanted to go over that real quick because I told you guys I was going to make a Royal Rumble video, which I did attempt to, but things happened. So we just got that over with, blah, blah, blah. I'll be here in a couple days again. I got news from NXT 205 Live, NXT UK, plus any other news gossip from wrestling organizations, especially AEW breaking news. And you gotta tune in next Thursday, man. Kenny Omega is finally gonna announce that he's joining AEW. So definitely check it out. It's the AEW Insider on YouTube, on Twitter. We have a group on Facebook. Also, we're connected with the WFW fan group. Definitely check out my boy Two Tooth with Jobber Jabber Wrestling Universe. They do pretty much all WWE, and they do an awesome job. They're on YouTube, Twitter, and we all do podcasts too. Check out Jobber Jabber Wrestling Universe on a podcast on Anchor, Google, Spotify, iTunes, plus my AEW Insider on the same podcast. And definitely check us out. We're good peoples. All right. So I'll see you guys very soon. Like I said, if you don't let me down, I won't let you down. Again, this is the AEW Insider. Your host, as always, Lee Benz. And we'll see you soon.